Hi, fourth grade. This is our practice test for 15A. Tomorrow you'll take your test for chapter 15 or the 15th test of math. Hope you're working on those multiplication, division facts. If you're not, get on there, go to those different sites we've gone to, practice them, play games at home with cards, with multiplication, all those types of things. Just get busy and practice those if you need to. All right, so number one, Mason has 4 days to write a 320-page book. If he wants to write the same number of pages each day, how many pages should Mason write each day? All right, if you haven't finished your cumulative 15A pretest, make sure you stop the video, go back, do that, and then come back to watch the video, okay? All right, so he has 4 days to write his 320-page book. He wants to do the same number of pages each day. So I know that he has less than 320 pages to write. So instead of, and each day would mean I could either multiply or divide. And in here, we're taking 320 pages and dividing it into 4 days. So when we start with that, we say, how many 4s can we get out of 32? We can get 8. 8 times 4 is 32. Subtract, no remainder. Brother in town, so bring them on down. How many 4s can we get out of 0? None. So put the 0 up there. 0 times 4 is 0. Subtract, we have nothing left over. So 80 pages per day. Okay, please continue on your math to show me your work, because I can't tell if you're knowing the process right if I don't see your work. We're not using calculators here, so I need to see your work. Okay? All right, number 2. When Mason has written 2/3 of the book, what fraction of the book will he still have left to write? Well, if we think about 2/3, I'll just draw it in a picture sense here. Here's 2/3. So what part's not shaded? That would just be 1/3 of the book. 1/3 of the book. Okay, you can think of it in a picture sense. You can think of it in just the 1/3 plus 2/3 equals 3/3, so you have the whole book. All right, either way works fine. All right, we use this paragraph here for 3, 4, and 5. 90 students voted for their favorite color. So I have 90 is my total number of students. Okay, 34 voted for green. So green equals 34. Blue received 7 fewer than green. So we have blue is green minus 7. And we'll look on the numbers in that later. The remaining students voted for red. Red equals the rest. Okay, so that's all the information I get in that paragraph there. So if I look on how many students chose blue as their favorite color, blue was green minus 7. So green is 34. We subtract 7 from it. More on the floor, so we go next door. This becomes a 2. We take 1 away. We break that into 10 pieces. We add that 10 to the 4 that's already here. So we have 14. 14 minus 7 is 7. 2 minus nothing is 2. So we have 27 blue. And that makes sense because it's less than green, and it is 7 less than green. And that works. Okay. How many students chose red as their favorite color? Well, if I know there's 34 green and there's 27 blue, I add those two together and I end up with 61 that's already taken up, but there were 90 students total. So I take that 90 and I subtract that 61 from it. more on the floor, so we go next door. That becomes 8. I take that 1 and I break it into 10 pieces. 10 minus 1 is 9. 8 minus 6 is 2. So we have red equals 29. And if I add all of them up, it should equal 90. So 29 plus 61 gives me 90. So I know I have the right answer for that. And then we ask which color received the fewest votes. Well, I look back at my work and I see we have 27 here, 29 here, 34 here. So it looks like blue has the least amount of votes. Okay, blue has the least amount of votes. All right, number 6. How many days equals 9 weeks? Well, that's a good number to remember because that's about what we have left of this distance learning. So let's see how many days, minus the weekends, of course, but here, let's see how many days is 9 weeks. How many days in a week? 7 days in a week times the 9 weeks. And that's going to get us 63 days. 63 days. We take the 9 weeks and the 7 days per week, and that'll give us 63 days. All right, so 63 days of this, minus the weekends, minus Memorial Day, and maybe even 1 or 2 other days where we might do a fun virtual field trip since we're probably not going to get on our end of the year field trip. All right, in the word reverberation, what fraction of the letters are R's? All right, so I'm going to see how many R's I have. 1, here's 2, here's 3 R's. 1, 2, 3 R's, so that's how many R's I have out of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 letters. So I have 3/13 is that fraction of the letters are R. Okay, got to keep that in mind too. When it says fraction, I need to show a fraction. So 3/13 of the word are come out to be R's. Okay, number 8. Deborah ran a 200-meter dash. 200 meters is how many centimeters? Centimeters, centa, a root that means 100. And so it takes 100 centimeters to equal 1 meter. So if she ran 200 meters, we have 200 over here, 200 meters. Let's look at what we have here in this relationship. I have a 1 on this side and I have a 100 on this side. So what did I do? Besides, I could say I multiply by 100, but that kind of mental math, we can say, wait a minute, the difference between this and this is just 2 zeros added on to the end of it. So I take and I add 2 zeros to the end of that to get my 100 centimeters. So here I have 200 meters. Just like I was going to do up there, I do down here. I add 2 zeros to the end of it, and I have 1, 2, 3, 4 zeros with a 2 in front of it. 2 with 1, 2, 3, 4 zeros after that. Put that comma in, so it's 20,000 centimeters. 20,000 centimeters. Okay, so just so we can review that, 100 centimeters equals 1 meter. And when we look at the relationship, it's basically 2 zeros onto the back of that, or multiplying by 100. I could also show that over here. I could do 200 times 100. And remember, when you have all zeros at the end, we could cross out those 4 zeros, put those 4 zeros down here, and then do 2 times 1 is 2. Okay, and we get that same answer. Okay? But in that situation, we could just add the zeros onto the end. All right, 1/5 of an hour is how many minutes? 1/5 of an hour. Okay, so if you think of our clock, and we have 60 minutes in an hour. Okay, I want to divide that clock into into 5 sections. I'm going to divide it into 5 sections. So if I have 12, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I have 12 sections, but I want to divide it into 5. So I take those 60 minutes and I divide it into 5 sections. How many 5s can I get out of 6? 1. 1 times 5 is 5. Again, practice this division. You're definitely going to need this for your test. 6 minus 5 is 1. Brother in town, so bring him on down. How many 5s can I get out of 10? 2. 2 times 5 is 10. Sister subtract, 0 left over, so 12 minutes. Whoops. 12 minutes is what we have is 1/5 of an hour. All right, 12 minutes. And if I add 12, if I do 12 times 5, it should give me 60. Or I could do 5 groups of 12, 12 plus 12 plus 12 plus 12, and we will get an hour's worth of minutes. All right, perimeter of the triangle. Remember, perimeter is putting a fence around the outside. What's around the outside there? The protection thing. Here's the protection. The gate around the outside is the protection. Perimeter starts with P, so does that protection of the gate around the outside. So we have 29 plus 21 plus 35. We add those together, we get 15, carry my 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So 85, and don't forget your label millimeters. 85 millimeters. Okay? All right, so hopefully you don't have any questions on that side. If you do, drop me an email, or hopefully we'll get this started where we can do a little bit more, with you and me interacting. But right now, things don't look like we can do that safely yet. So we'll get there though. Hang in there with me. All right, A to B is 33 millimeters. And then they say A to C, the whole length here, is going to be 71 millimeters. So what is the length of this part here? Okay, well, we can see it's going to be less than 71. So we can say, oh, that's going to be a subtraction problem then. So we take 71 minus that 33. More on the floor, so go next door, cross it out, make it a 6. Break it into 10, add it to that 1, so we now have 11. 11 minus 3 equals 8. 6 minus 3 equals 3, so we have 38 millimeters. And if I take 38 millimeters and 33 millimeters, I should get 71 millimeters. Okay? With cash or money, when we look at this here, we've got to make sure that we are dealing with the decimal places in the right spot. So I have $27. So that's going to be written like that. $27 and no dimes, no pennies. Okay, this says do me first. Anything in parentheses we do first. So we're going to start with that $24.17 and subtract 58 cents from it. 58 cents, it's not a dollar, so it's going to be after to the right of the decimal point. We line up our decimal points for addition and subtraction. We're going to put that 5 here and that 8 there. We have no dollars, no $10 bills either. Okay, so more on the floor, so we go next door. We add 10 to the number we have, so 17 minus 8 is going to give me 9. 0 minus 5 can't do because there's more on the floor, so I go next door, I take a group away, and now I add 10 to that. 10 minus 5 is 5. And then we have our decimal point. 3 minus nothing is 3, 2 minus nothing is 2, and our dollar sign. So we've gotten $23.59 for this part here. Now we're going to take and subtract that from that $27 that we wrote down earlier. $27.59. All right, again, we have more on the floor, so we go next door. Oh, he doesn't have anything, so he goes to his neighbor. His neighbor says, yeah, I can give away a group. So he gives away a group, gives them 6. Add 10 to the 0, that gives us a 10. Now he has enough to give a 1 away, and that becomes that 9. Add 10 to this 0, and that gives us a 10 again. 10 minus 9 is 1. 9 minus 5 is 4. Our decimal point, 6 minus 3 is 3. And our dollar sign, so you get $3.41. $3.41. All right, our next one, we have 26,491. If you're rewriting your numbers over here, make sure you look and see, did I write down the right numbers? Because that's an easy mistake to make, to write down the wrong number. And then, of course, you're not going to get the right answer. So we want you to write down the right numbers. I like to spread them out like you know. So let's start it out again. 1 minus 6 we can't do, so we go next door. Take a group away, add 10 to that 1, that gives us 11. 11 minus 6 is 5. 8 minus 4 is 4. More on the floor, so we go next door. Always take one column at a time. Add 10 to that 4, so we have 14. 14 minus 8 is 6, my comma. 5 minus nothing is 5. 2 minus nothing is 2. If I check my work, 5 and 6 is 11. 8 and 1 is 9. 6 and 8 is 14, carry my 1. 5 and 1 is 6, and 2 and nothing is 2. So I have the same number I started with. All right, next one, we want to line up those decimal points. So I'm going to write them down here. I have 2 and 7/10. I have 3 and 45 hundredths. I have no dollars or no single and 18 hundredths. I have 2 and nothing else. So I'm going to fill in these spaces with just the little place value holders there. All right, and now I can actually add them up. 8 and 5 is 13, carry my 1. 7 and 4 is 11, 12, 13, carry your 1, put your decimal point there. 2 and 2 is 4, and 3 is 7, and 1 more is 8. 8 and 33 hundredths. Do not put a dollar sign there because that's not what it's asking about. All right, and double check your work. You can add in whatever way you feel comfortable doing. You might want to do the 2 and the 18 together and get 2.18, and then go on from there. It's up to you as long as you add the numbers correctly like that. Okay. All right. Our next one. We have $4.91 times 7. 7 times 1 is 7. 7 times 9 is 63. Carry that 6. 7 times 4 is 28. 28 and 6 is 34. We have two numbers after the decimal point. So we have two numbers after the decimal point, and our dollar sign goes into place. So we have $34.37. Up at the top here, a nice division problem. I'm going to give myself room. 341 divided by 6. All right, 3 is too little to answer the door, so he brings his buddy with 34. How many 6s can I get out of 34? I think of my 6 factors. I have 6 times 4, 6 times 5. Well, 6 times 5 is 30, and 6 times 6 is 36. So 5 is the number I can get without going over. Remember, that's Dad, Mom, Sister, Brother, Rover. All right, 5 times 6 is 30. Roof times the door ends up on the floor. Sister, subtract. 4 minus 0 is 4. 30 minus 3 is 0. All right, brother in town, so bring him on down. Now we have to do that division again. You can almost think of it as if you're making this into a division sign again. As long as you have a brother in town, now you're going to ask yourself, how many 6s can I get out of 41? We can get 6. That goes right above the brother you brought down. 6 times 6 is 36. Sister, subtract. How many, we've got to cross out that 4, make it a 3. That becomes an 11. 11 minus 6 is 5. No more brothers in town, so this is Rover leftover. So we have Rover leftover of 5. 56 with a remainder of 5. Remember, the remainder should always be less than the divisor. Whoever's knocking at the door, this has to be less than that. Just like I've said before, if I had, 34 pieces of candy to give out, and there were 6 of you, and I could give you 50, if I said I can give you 55 with 11 left over, you'd be like, can't we just have one more? And so we want to have only the leftovers. We can't share any more because we don't have enough for everybody. All right, so make sure that's less than the divisor, and then you know your answer. Do 56 times 6 and add your remainder. You should get 341. Okay, that's that checkpoint. 56 times 6 and then add your remainders. All right, 48 divided by 8. I have 6. 6 times 8 is 48. Subtract, we have 0. Brother in town, bring him on down. All right, we have to follow the process always. So how many 8s can I get out of 3? None, so that goes on the roof. Roof times the door ends up on the floor. There's that floor. Sister, subtract. 3 minus 0 is 3. No more brothers in town, so it's Rover left over, so it's 60 remainder of 3. 60 remainder of 3. All right, let's move on to number 18. We have 240 divided by 4, because if 4 times a is 240, then 240 divided by a, or a is 4, or we could say 240 divided by 4 is a. All right, so how many 4s can we get out of 24? 6, that goes on the roof, that's Dad. Roof times the door ends up on the floor. 6 times 4 is 24. Sister, subtract, we have 0. Brother in town, bring him on down. How many 4s can we get out of 0? 0. 0 times 4 is 0. Sister, subtract is 0. No remainders, so A equals 60. All right, remember we want to keep that equation like that. A equals 60. All right. Here I'm missing a number right there. Now if I'm adding numbers together and they're all positive numbers, then I could say, okay, this number, all 3 of these numbers have to be less than the number that I get on the bottom. So if these numbers have to be less than this, in order to get a smaller number, I need to subtract something. Now before you subtract, you might want to add these 2 together first. So add those together first. 3 and 6 is 9. 1 and 6 is 7. 4 and 1 is 5. Now I have 890, and I want to figure out how many more do I need. 890 minus that. Now remember, if there's more on the floor, we go next door. More on the floor, go next door, so that's going to become an 8. This 0 becomes a 10. 10 minus 9 is 1. 8 minus 7 is 1. And 8 minus 5 is 3. So F equals 311. I could check that out. I could put that 311 in here. 6 and 3 is 9, plus 1 more is 10. Carry my 1. 6, 7, 8, 9. 7, 8. It equals 890. Double check that work. It'll help you with not making your errors that you don't need to make. All right. Now let's look at this guy here. So here we're going to split him out. How many 5s do I have? I have 2 of them. So I have a 5 here and a 5 here, and I'm going to multiply those 2 5s together. 5 times 5 is 25. 2 times 5 is 50. So I have 50 on that side. Over here, I have the square root of 81. So squares, you think of a square, you have a 1 by 1, a 2 by 2, a 3 by 3, a 4 by 4, a 5 by 5. So those multiplication facts, one of those multiplication facts is going to equal 81. And that would be a 9. 9 times 9 is 81. Over here, 16, we have 4 times 4 is 16. So we have 9 times 4, which gives us 36. If the numbers are not together in the square root sign, you need to find the square root of this one, and then the square root of this one, and then multiply. Okay? All right. So now I can say that 50 is greater than 36. And remember, the Pac-Man is going for the bigger number. He's going for that, chomping on the bigger number. So his big mouth's open towards that 50. Okay? That's your practice test. Go over what you've done, review it for tomorrow's test, and I pray that you guys all do well. Missed you guys.